Book 12.12 The Chest. Egan and the Slinks are still tingling with the thrill of seeing the sunken ship. Now they must get into it and hunt for the riches. They go down to the ship. There is a big gash in the hull. That's how they will get in. The two pals go scrambling into the hull, but then they come to a stop. They must not rush. They can see that they are in a big cabin, but it is a mishmash of split planks and twisted metal. The deck itself is just a mass of odds and ends. They can see some pistols, muskets and cutlasses, buckets and pans, mugs and dishes, fragments of pots, cannon shot, and lots more. The bits of the deck that they can see are rotten. The ship is full of risks. They must not trust it. Egan thinks they must get out of this cabin. Egan taps the Slinks on the back. He signals to him with his hand. The Slinks understands. They creep out of the cabin and swim up to the top deck. They are in luck. There is a hatch. This will get them into the ship. The two pals pull and tug at the hatch. It is a difficult job, but at last they do it. A set of steps goes down into the ship. Egan and the Slinks creep down. Now they are in the depths of the ship. They are going down a dim tunnel. The deck is solid, but they still test every step. They are ready for the unexpected. They do not intend to get stuck. At the end of the tunnel, they can see a very grand cabin. Will this cabin have all the riches? They think it will. Still testing every step, they travel down the tunnel. Now Egan and the Slinks are in the big cabin. They can see the desk with a map and some instruments. Next to the desk is a mat. At the top of the cabin there is a grill, and suspended from the grill they can see a brass lamp. Egan goes across to one end of the cabin where he can see a bunk. What a shock! Egan jumps out of his skin. There is a skeleton in the bunk. Egan panics. He rushes across to the Slinks. The Slinks has to hug and pat Egan until at last he is ready to go back to the hunt. They check the cabin from top to bottom, but they have run out of luck. They cannot track down one bit of cash. The Slinks gets mad. He goes across to the desk and gives it a thump. Then he kicks the mat. The Slinks stops in his tracks. Hidden under the mat, there is a hatch with a big metal ring. The pals pull the chest out. 12.12 It is The big chest. and solid, with metal Egan and bands the Slinks and a good are lock. still The tingling two with the pals thrill get of out of the seeing the cabin sunken and ship. up to the raft Now as they must fast get as they into it can. and hunt for the riches. Then they tell the fuzzbuzzers They go down that to they the have ship. got to a big There is chest. a big gash Now in the they hull. must lift it out That's of the how ship. they will get Everyone in. gets cracking. The The two Slinks pals swims go back down to scrambling the into ship. the hull, but then they come He to a swims stop. across the top They deck must not rush. until he can They see can the grill. see that they are in a Pushing big and pulling, cabin, he shifts but the grill. it is a Now he can mishmash swim of down split into the planks cabin. and He twisted fixes metal. some clips The onto the deck chest. itself is just a Then he mass of gives two odds and tugs. ends. Up They can on the see some raft, pistols, everyone muskets, pulls. and cutlasses. Buckets. The chest goes up. Then, all of a sudden, it stops. The Slinks cannot understand it. He swims back up to the raft. The fuzzbuzzes are flat out. They tell him that they cannot pull the chest up.
Pass down some plastic sacks,
yells the Slinks. Now the fuzzbuzzes do not understand, but they give the sacks to the Slinks. Grabbing them, he swims back down to the chest. The Slinks pushes the sacks under the chest. Then he fills them with gas. That does the trick. The chest goes up and up. Now the chest is on the raft. The Slinks picks up a mallet and a chisel. Crack! The lock drops onto the deck. Now the band can lift the lid.
Let the Slinks do it!
They all yell. With a big grin, he does so. It's astonishing. The chest is full to the brim. The band can see crosses and goblets, lockets and pendants, rings and medallions. They have hit the jackpot. The fuzzbuzzers do a little jig. Egan claps his hands. The Slinks loves dressing up, so he puts on some of the stuff. Everyone is happy. They are rich at last. But the band do not see what is happening out in the Atlantic. They are in for it now. The band are still giggling and chuckling as the tempest hits them. First of all, the wind hits the raft full blast. Within seconds, the sun is blotted out and it pelts down. Then the Atlantic goes mad. First it is rippling, then it is bubbling, then it is frothing, then it is a gushing, rushing torrent. It hits, thumps, and buffets them. The panic-stricken fuzzbuzzes cling to the mast. Egan rushes across to help them. The Slinks just stands there. He cannot understand it. Egan can see what is going to happen. He yells out, but he cannot stop it. The Atlantic hits them with a colossal, crushing thump, and the Slinks is swept off the raft. Egan can see him struggling in the cross currents, but he can tell that the Slinks is going to go under. Without thinking, Egan dashes to the chest, tips it up, lifts it up, then sends it spinning across to the Slinks. The Slinks grabs it with one hand. Then Egan and the fuzzbuzzers pull him back to the raft. Then the wind drops and the sun comes out. The wet and unhappy band stand and inspect the chest. All the riches have sunk to the bottom of the Atlantic. The trinkets the Slinks put on have sunk as well. There is nothing left. Without a word, they travel back to land. The band tramps back up the rock steps to the top of the cliff. They flop down next to the cross. Egan is very upset. He thinks he has lost the riches.
Rubbish,
snaps the Slinks, and the fuzzbuzzers add,
That chest kept the Slinks up. And it got him back to us. Thank you, Egan. You are the best of all pals.
They all grin.
So we have lost the riches,
they yell.
So what? The Slinks is fit and well. What good is millions in the bank if you do not have one pal? Forget the riches. We all love you.
And with that, they all jump into the van and set off back. Question 1. Write down 6 things the pals see in the first cabin. Question 2. Why do you think the pals test every step? Question 3. Why does Egan jump out of his skin? Question 4. What is hidden under the mat? Question 5. What do they have to do to get into the hidden hatch? Question 6. On his second trip down, how does the Sphinx get back into the cabin? Question 7. How does the Sphinx get the chest to go up? Question 8. What happens to all the riches? Question 9. In the end, the band forget the riches. Why?